Hello and welcome to your reading today. We are getting insights on your spiritual gifts. I'll start with the tarot and oracle cards, and if it feels right, I'll bring the book in at the end. This is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, and we'll just get a message or two at the end to close off the reading with. You would be surprised, by the way, if you don't already know, how accurate a book can be in divination, just opening to a page or a passage and how spot on it can be. I find that's true when it's paired with tarot as well. But let me just take a second to tune in, and we're going to take a look at your spiritual gifts and also why you are developing these gifts now, how they're coming about, or just, I guess, the story of this and you. Beautiful. So we have a spectrum here. This is giving me the indication that you are a multi-talented person with many gifts. So while a lot of people will identify as this or that or one thing or another, you are able to move freely into different worlds, different realms of experience, different spirits that you work with, guides and entities, and different dualities as well. You're a person who can work in the light and the dark because you see the beauty in darkness and you see the depth in light, and there's nothing that you really shy away from. You're not afraid spiritually to explore because ultimately you know yourself. I'm getting an image here. This reminds me of the image of Aphrodite in the shell, and there's a beach here as well. There's depth of emotion here, and you feel your way through your path at very specific times. And you may judge yourself a little bit as wishy-washy, like you seem to want to be one thing. But the truth that we're getting from Spirit here is that you are not. You are many things. You are multifaceted, and you are spiritually mature and able to move through different realms and realities. The spectrum, number 51, which is 6. I root out and reject prejudice in myself and others. So that brings it back to that as well, that you see the beauty in every path and there's nothing that you're afraid of. You are very accepting of others on their own personal paths, that there's no sense of elitism or snobbery in you, not even a little bit. You understand that the divine is expansive, that it extends into everything, and that ultimately what we look at within a person's personal spiritual path is what they're open to at any given time or not, and how they express through it. So for instance, you could take a person who resonates with a path that on the surface may seem darker, or that maybe other people may be afraid of a little bit, but you see the person through it and you respect why they're drawn towards it, because these are all never about the specific thing, the religion, the path, the practice itself, but how it expresses through that person. What you are not seeing right now, I think, is how it's expressing through you. And I would like some information from your guides as to what you're in with this right now, because it feels like the reason why you were drawn to this is that while you see it and accept it in others, you are not accepting it in yourself. We have the 8 of Coins, the 8 of Pentacles, the 3 of Pentacles, and the Queen of Swords. I feel like a lot of the work you do is very private. You're not a person who per se works as a spiritualist or a spiritual person. You may not make your living this way or even share it with many others, but that you do a lot of work, not necessarily in secret, but it feels secretive. It feels like depth work, and that you are interested in that you are primarily looking at yourself through these different practices that you do. With the Pentacles on the table, I am getting that though you have not yet there is an aspect of you who knows that you are powerful enough to turn your gifts into a practice, and that you, for some reason, are not allowing yourself of this right now. We're going to keep going, but this Queen of Swords is fiercely independent. She knows herself, and she's very strategic. So with the Pentacles on the table, with the Queen of Swords here, I am getting that you are looking at a certain level of readiness that you feel you need to be in before you can move your practice from a personal one to one that you either monetize in some way or connect with others through. It doesn't have to be monetization, though I do feel like with the Pentacles on the table, it is pointing to that. Especially with the 8 of coins here, along with the 3 of coins, you are working on building a specific skill for a specific reason. I do feel like maybe what you're in right now, paired with this card, is that you feel like that once you do this, you have to settle on a certain thing and be a certain thing, that you're building a brand, or, you know, to use our very modern term and language in the digital age, that you're building some kind of brand and that it will box you in. But I don't think you have to be afraid of this, because again, all of this comes back to how you express through it. So you will very naturally build yourself up in a way where you can continue to learn. In fact, it's a big part of your path to keep learning. Nothing about the occult or spirituality is really ever boxed in. Again, it's just in how you choose to embody it. And you are a person who has an innate understanding of the occult, and that it actually opens multiple levels and doors within you, and you will know intuitively how to build yourself and keep building in a way that allows you to fully step into yourself as either an occultist, a witch, a spiritual, a starseed, any embodiment that you are. Again, it could be many. You walk many paths and you see many paths, but that will keep you moving. Solar return. Temptation. Very strong sexual and feminine energy as well. The moon. The bear. Fame starts to double that way. That's funny. This came up in another reading I did. We have the solar return coming in, which is telling me that you are at a very specific turning point, and that astrologically there is something working in your favor to this, even if it feels tumultuous now. The temptation coming up here is that there's something very sensual about your path. As spiritual as you are, there are a lot of societal and ingrained fears around the way you feel energy. You may even have a guide and a connection to spirit that is sensual. A lot of the readings I do on this channel are twin flame readings, and it's very sensual energy, and it often points to a partner that guides at various different levels of spirit. So this could be a guide from the other side or different time and place. I don't know if that's the case for you, but more we're looking at that this is an aspect of you that you shy away from a little bit. But with the moon here, this is the energy of a mystic and a powerful person who actually manifests through this energy. And meanwhile, we have the bear over here, and fame starts to double that way. It's hard not to see some kind of twin flame energy in this. So Take that as it resonates for you. That was not my first impression when I started this reading, but as a general reading, different things may resonate for each of you in different ways, so don't force anything, but certainly that's there if it applies to you. And what we're getting with the bear here is this energy of steady building, of remember your why, essentially. And fame starts to double that way. You may not necessarily be on a path that makes you famous, but it certainly allows you to step into your light and embrace and accept the energy that is you. And that you can create a life through this. Not only are you allowed to, but that you're being guided to now. There's a lot aligning in your favor. I would look up some of the astrological transits right now and through the next month and see if there's anything there that feels particularly powerful to you, and to lean into that energy magically. I'm not an astrologer, so I can't really help you there, but if you're able to either contact one or look into that energy yourself, if you have a pretty studied eye for it, I would go for it and see what's there for you right now. Is there something specific you're supposed to be doing through this aside from kind of building? Like, what's the calling really? Because you know your magic, you have your magic, you are a mystic, that much is clear. But I feel like there's a strong why for you. Something pulling you, the Page of Swords. The Five of Coins. Swords and coins primarily on the table today. That's a big, big message. And then we have the Ten of Cups. And Wheel of Fortune. Beautiful. With our pentacles and the swords on the table primarily, I feel like you're in a bit of an energy now, and this could be what's stifling or causing a bit of a disruption or distortion on how you sense or feel energy, is that you've been a little bit in a masculine mode of this for a while, of trying to figure it out intellectually. I think that's why you're drawn to a lot of different paths and modes of learning, because there's this sense of preparation that you feel you need to take in order to be ready. But we have the Ten of Cups on the table today, indicating, along with the Wheel of Fortune, that this isn't something that you learn necessarily, though learning is part of it. It's something you know innately, and trusting that innate nature of your own path is a big part of what you're being called to do now. You're meant to lean into that. And with the Wheel of Fortune, there could be a sense of something lingering, perhaps from a past life. Again, as you've always been this person in many different embodiments, there is a sense that you have a lingering fear around leaning into that. Again, the negative associations to that, what that's been made into collectively, and that some of those fears are being niggled at right now. There's a sense of not believing in yourself with the Page of Swords here, and then followed by the Five of Pentacles, that this will ultimately fall through, that underneath all of this power and beauty and sensuality and gorgeousness that is your soul, you don't seem to believe in yourself. But what is being communicated now is that once you do, as soon as you do, you are going to step into something so beautiful that you will not even recognize your life through it. It will come to you so powerfully, and it begins with coming back to you and trusting you. Deep down, you know you do. It's just that you have some fears around what you're in right now that are clouding you a little bit, and that's distorting your senses a little bit. Sexual arts. Yeah, so if you are a twin flame, remember that if you are, that is a big part of your journey for a reason. It is not by accident, and part of the twin flame energy is the activation of Kundalini energy and the balancing of masculine and feminine. These are masculine and feminine embodiments within yourself, and that you work with a counterpart with in very specific ways, and this is in the spiritual sense. So if that part of the reading resonated for you, remember that that is not an accident. Nothing on your path is. If you are not a twin flame, if that does not resonate for you, this energy of sexuality is still very strong, again, in how you sense or feel energy. And it's a part of your path, and it's not something to be ashamed of. So what we're doing is, this image is transforming into the balanced sexual energy, that there's positivity and light, and that it's not a thing to be afraid of. You know it innately. Cycles. Procrastination. You're like, yeah, but I don't wanna. You may have. And again, like when we talk about sexuality in the spiritual sense, this doesn't have to be anything physical outside of what you feel. Sexual arts and sexuality in the spiritual sense is opening to your senses within your body, how you feel energy, how you intuit energy. And that's why it's so often tied to the awakening Kundalini, which is in a sense a sexual energy. And you may have, I don't want to delve too deeply into this as it's a general reading. I don't feel that I'm a person who can do this with you. You may need help outside of a general tarot reading with this, because it could be tied to a specific wound that you have around that. And if that resonates for you, know that this wounding, whatever it is not meant to stop you. You will learn through it how to overcome the block that it's created there. But that the procrastination energy, I don't mean to, but it is kind of a levity that Spirit is bringing in, that you kind of shy away from this part of you, but it is in essence a big part of how you manifest, connect with your magic, connect to yourself, even within your own body even. And that because there's procrastination here and cycles, this is a reoccurring block that comes up time and time again, which means that there may be something specific that you're working through. And I feel that the guidance today is to not be afraid of that as well. You are in a much more healed place than you were before, and you are able to come through this specific cycle of learning about it and around it that will allow you to move forward a little bit. Okay, let's get some final guidance, and then we'll read from the book. Pure medicine. We have the Kundalini again. This is strong, strong, strong. This would not have come up in your reading this much if it was not a key piece. Energy of the Andes. When you are able to connect with Kundalini energy and open that energy within you and feel freely and embrace it, allow it to move through you, that causes your energy and your magic to expand. And again, this will bring you into, as long as you can visualize and have a clear sense of what it is and where you're going, you will get there. Even though you feel like you might have been stuck for years around this, there's, even if it's not consciously, there's a block here in terms of sexual energy or sexuality that has caused your life to feel very slow. I feel like you may feel like your days are very much the same, that there are these invisible hurdles that you can't get over. And so you've told yourself over and over again, well, my life is always going to be that way. But the truth is that it's not. There are just certain things that you're moving through and that you're learning about yourself, and that once that key clicks, once it really clicks, everything is going to open and move so much more faster. And you have a beautiful energy. Like this energy that you have expands so far. Like you can just connect with global energy so fast, it's not even funny. Like it's just in you, and it's just a matter of working through. We have these twin rings again, so my twin flames who are here, remember that that energy is not an accident. It is very much on purpose. And if you have a twin flame who you work with in the spiritual sense, either their higher self or a past life that you share together or that you know of, that they can connect with you in this, and that this is very natural. It's a part of your soul and a part of your soul story. It's been with you forever. And that if you have a twin flame and you kind of daydream and think about them, or like they're on your mind all the time, but you don't exactly work with them, this is their calling to, and that it's safe to work with them in this, that it's okay, that it's energetically aligned and in integrity, and that it's okay. Let's get one more message from guides, guardians, or the twin flame. Final message. Some readings, I just want to keep pulling cards. This is one of them. They were eating, perhaps, the roots of the trees. This is an indication that part of what this wounding is, whether directly tied to your past or not, is that it manifests, how the block manifests is people not really seeing you for who you are. And that even though you don't meet people in that energy, and that you see everybody that might be part of you as a mystic as well, and that you don't understand always that not everyone is like this. It's easy to feel that way, that like when you get a clear sense or a picture of someone, you see the good in them, you see the wounds in them, you see things, like as soon as you look into their eyes, you see things about people. And you've told a story about yourself that everyone is like that everyone feels and sees the same way that you do. And that's part of your block, and where you've been a little bit slowed in terms of your own energy and how you connect within yourself. That the story that you tell yourself, in spite of all of the beautiful things that are, and everything that you learn, and everything that you're open to, you are an old soul who has learned so much, not only in this life, but in so many lives past. You have always been this soul who knows innately the magic that exists in this world and other worlds and beyond that. And you don't see how special you are. You don't see that that's not a thing that everyone experiences. And what your guides or guardians, or if you're a twin flame, your twin flame is reminding you of, that remember who you are. Because you are unique and you are special, and the things you see are not what everyone sees. And I want to draw your attention again. We have the turtle here. He's sitting on coins and a pile of money. And if that's triggering to you, if you block abundance because you have some fears and stories about money, that may be something that you are working on now as well, that you're guided to do. Okay, so let's get a message from Jane Eyre and see what she has to say to end this reading. We may be called to read further, or to just let the message stand as it is and you can interpret. So let's take a look. Bear with me here. I'm trying to be careful because it's an older book. Okay, here we go. I was about again to revert to the probability of a union between Mr. Rochester and the beautiful Blanche, but Adelaide came in and the conversation was turned into another channel. When once more alone, I reviewed the information I had got, looked into my heart, examined its thoughts and feelings, and endeavored to bring back with a strict hand such as had been straying through imagination's boundless and trackless waste into the safe fold of common sense. Arranged at my own bar, memory having given her evidence of the hopes, wishes, sentiments I had been cherishing since last night, of the general state of mind in which I had indulged for nearly a fortnight past, reason having come forward and told in her own quiet way a plain, unvarnished tale, showing how I had rejected the real and rapidly devoured the ideal, I pronounced judgment to this effect: that a greater fool than Jane Eyre had never breathed the breath of life, that a more fantastic idiot had never surfeited herself on sweet lies and swallowed poison as if it were nectar. You, I said, a favorite with Mr. Rochester, you gifted with the power of pleasing him, you of importance to him in any way, go, your folly sickens me, and you have derived pleasure from occasional tokens of preference, equivocal tokens shown by a gentleman of a family and a man of the world, too dependent a novice. How dare you, poor stupid dupe? Could not even self-interest make you wiser? You repeated to yourself this morning the brief scene of last night. Cover your face and be ashamed. All right, so that is a very clear voice that, if not from your head, is coming through the energy of others. I saw this it. Very clear voice that is essentially coming up for you to exercise. That is not something you need to listen to. I saw in that reading a person who knows their power, who understands the connection of love and beauty and sensuality, and that this voice that turns over and over in your head that reprimands you for that, it's time for you to silence it. And that not only can you, but you will, and it's time to let that go. Thank you for stopping by today. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later.